Hi folks, Tony here with TNT RVing. And what a beautiful day we have here in Northeast Ohio. Not a cloud in the sky. And it makes it a perfect time to do a follow-up on our dewinterization video on Belle. Here we have a flush wand that I made, which is really kind of cool. We're going to go ahead and flush out our water heater. If you didn't watch our previous video, we have this filled up with vinegar right now, and it's hopefully cleaned up all those minerals that built up all over the heating element and the sidewalls and the bottom and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and flush out the tank and the lines with regular city water, get that mixture of bleach out of there. I'm going to also install a new carbon filter, and I'll show you how we're going to do that as well. So come along and let's get started. All right, so our hose is on there real well. I got my bucket to collect the mixture, and now we're gonna open it up. And that vinegar mixture is coming out. All right, so we'll let that drain. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the flush wand in here, and we'll flush it all out. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and share with you the debris. Look at all the stuff coming out of there. That's pretty impressive. So this wand's doing a really nice job. I'm glad I made this long enough, because there's the end of the tank there. That's pretty good. And you can see some of the debris coming out of there. The side of the tank. Here's the heating element. There you go. And that cleaned up well. So, definitely an improvement. It removed all of that debris in there, all that calcium buildup. Look at that. So the heating element looks good. Bottom of the tank is looking decent. Not happy about some of that rusty looking stuff there. It's not the greatest looking. But for the most part, I believe we got a lot of the minerals out of there. So, all right, we're gonna flush this out a little bit more. Alrighty, so we're gonna button up the water heater now. I feel pretty confident with what we got out of it. It looks a lot cleaner than it did. And first off, I'm going to close the overpressure relief valve here. And then I'm going to put in our magnesium anode rod. And I actually just recently learned that I know there's a aluminum rod and there's also a magnesium rod. And if you're in hard water areas, they recommend using a aluminum, I guess, anode rod. So I'm going to stick with the magnesium and put that in. I've got new Teflon tape on here, and I'm using a, what is this, 1 1/16 inch socket. So we'll put this back in here, and then we'll be done with our water heater. We don't want to put this in too tight, but just enough so it doesn't leak. And that's good. So I have my switch in the off position, and like I said, the relief valve is closed, and we're gonna, actually I'll leave this open for now, let that dry out a little better. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna drain the freshwater tank now. All right, so we're here at the freshwater tank, And Belle here, the Rockwood 2205S Mini Lite, has a 52-gallon tank, by the way. And once again, we used a quarter cup per 15 gallons water, quarter cup bleach to 15 gallons. And we ended up putting in 45 gallons, if you recall. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain this, and we will go ahead and fill this up again with some fresh water, and then we'll flush that through the system. Okay, so the tank is drained, and we're gonna go ahead and put probably another 40 gallons or so of fresh water in here, maybe a little bit less. And we'll let that fill up, and then I'll bring you back inside and I'll show you what we'll do. Alrighty, so we're back inside Belle, and I am checking the freshwater tank, and we are still a little bit low, but that shouldn't stop us from being able to turn on the water pump. And you could hear it just came up to prime. And I'm going to go ahead and flush some of this water, and we'll let that run and get all of that bleach smell out of there. So I'm going to let that go for a little bit. We're going to do this with all the faucets and the shower and toilet. All right, so I went out and shut off our fresh water. We have 2/3 a tank. Feeling good about that. And let's go and flush out the rest of these lines. All right, so here's a bathroom sink. We're gonna turn these both on and let this run for a while. And I suspect if you had lines that were really dirty and were concerned, you could remove the screen in here just in case, just to prevent this screen from plugging up. But I think we're in good shape. So I'm gonna let that run a little bit. That's good. All right, so we're gonna take the shower head here, and we're gonna run the cold and hot. I'll go ahead and flush this out. That should be good. And what I'm going to do is the shower miser, I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, and then that'll flush out that line that goes back to the freshwater tank. So I'll let that run for a little bit. We're getting all that chlorinated, high chlorinated water out of there. And that should be good. So we're going to shut that off and put that back on. Now we're going to flush out the toilet here. All right, so as the toilet goes, we're going to go ahead and run this, flush it a couple times. And we'll let that go down there. So the other thing I wanted to mention is anytime I'm doing any type of flushing of the lines and everything, I like to take a look. I'll open up the drawers, look behind with a flashlight, and just check all the drains, the lines that are feeding the fixtures and everything, and just make sure that we're starting off the season right and not going to have any leaks. Alrighty, for the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the water pump for now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to purge water, get that all moved there, which is good. So what we're going to do now is replace the cartridge, the carbon filter, and ours is a FRE-10F, so yours should have come with one. Just keep an eye on that part number there. I was able to find ours from an RV supply shop on eBay, and it was pretty reasonable. Alrighty, so once again, to take this off, I went ahead and got a towel underneath here. I have the pump off, and I went ahead and actually opened up the faucet and purged out all the remaining water in the system, so this isn't going to be under pressure. And if I had to do this again, I had second thoughts about putting that water bottle in upside down, by the way. Whenever you put a water bottle in here, it was kind of nice having it in here, so when I actually loosened it up, and I was able to remove that and the water level dropped, so I didn't make too much of a mess. So if I had to do this again, I'd probably go ahead and do that, because I am sure that when I unscrew this here, I will be leaking some water. And unfortunately, Tina's not here to hand this off to. So, but I've got a good dry towel here. Let's see if I could do this without making too much of a mess. Not too bad. Let's see here. Like I said, I could just dump it on this towel, no problem. And we're good. And what we're gonna do, nice, not too bad. Look at that. Alrighty, so we have our water filter housing off, and I'm gonna dump the rest of this water off out of here. And when we did this yesterday, the other day, what I noticed, and I didn't point out in the video, there was still some residual antifreeze. That's why I initially removed it and then dumped that out. And now this is really nice and clean. But what I also wanted to show you is there's a O-ring seal right here. And what happens is this gets a little bit sticky to the housing and makes it difficult to remove. So one of the things I do to help with the removal in the future of the canister here is I use a product. It's a silicone grease, and it's used in the plumbing industry. And you could get this at any Home Depot, Lowe's, or what have you, but you want to use a silicone grease and not a Vaseline or petroleum jelly. So what I'll do is I'll just put a few dabs throughout here and then spread this out thin. And what's going to help in the future when we're removing this, it will make it a lot easier. It won't stick to the inner part of the housing there. And this will be a lot easier to remove in the future. So now I took the wrapping off our filter here, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and then we should be ready to reinstall it. We're ready to reinstall the filter housing with the new filter. And what we're going to do is just simply screw this back up in there. And there we go. And this does not need to be over torqued, so just be careful with how tight you put this in. There we go. And then I'm just simply gonna give it a little bit of a turn, and that should be plenty. And that's all it takes. All right, so now I'm gonna turn on the water pump, and let's see what happens here. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. And that looks good. Very nice. All right, we're back at the switch here. We're going to shut off that pump. I'm going to go over here to the sink here. We're going to bleed off the water pressure. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the water heater, and I'm going to open up these valves so it's no longer going to be in bypass. So I'm going to do this with all of the pressure off of the system, and we're going to turn that in that lower one. So now the water's coming in, going into the tank, and then we're going to turn this one up top here so the hot water can come out of the water heater. So we are no longer in bypass. And then what I'm going to do, well, let's go over and do it. We're going to go over and turn on our water pump. And what's going to happen is that water heater is going to start filling up with water. You could hear it. And then eventually, after 5 gallons, we should be getting water coming out of the hot water side of our sink here, so you can see that. So that's how I'm going to purge that out. Well, there you have it, folks. Belle is officially dewinterized. The water heater's all full up with water. Everything's looking good there, no leaks. And we're ready for this up and coming camping season. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, we'd greatly appreciate it if you'd subscribe to TNT RVing. Hope you have a great up and coming camping season with your loved ones. And as Tina would say, we'll see you at the campground.